Happy hump day. Yay. It's hump day. It's hump day. Yeah. I still love those commercials. And every time I start a happy chat, my nose decides to run. So excuse me. My goodness. What is that? Good morning. Good morning. Happy hump day. I hope you're smiling, laughing, getting your day off to a good start if you're in this hemisphere. And for those of you where the sun is going down, I hope you're having a good evening. Shouting out to my friend Myra in the UK, one of our members, wherever you are and whatever's going on. And if you're watching this as a replay, I would love for you to comment and put a hashtag replay. And let me know that you're out there. It really does help to know that doing these videos for you really supports your acquisition of more bliss, your experience of more bliss. You're tapping in to your bliss centers in you that are a part of the uniqueness of your life and what your expression and what you bring to the world. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining me. I'm so glad you're here. Another Wednesday. So I do have an announcement coming up. So let's see. I think it's this Sunday, May 2nd. I'm inviting you, Bliss Collective, to join me on a Zoom. I thought it would be great for us to get together. We've got over 100 members now, and some people are engaging and playing. And the ultimate idea of this collective is to not be virtual all the time. It's not my vision that we just post things and chit chat in Cyberland. So eventually, the longer range plan is for us to get together and we'll talk more about that some other time, but that's that plan. So in the interim, in the short-term plan, we have the blessing of Zoom, of a virtual venue for us to kind of connect and chat and hear each other's voices and see what's going on. And so that's what I'd like to do. So you'll see an invitation with the Zoom link posted on Friday, so day after tomorrow. I think I scheduled a post to go out that has that. And then we'll gather on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific. 11:30 to 12. If some people want to hang out a little bit longer, we certainly can. And 11:30 a.m. Pacific may not be the best time for everyone, so if you'll type in when you see that that announcement, if you'll kind of comment on some other options for times, we'll rotate times so that we're getting optimal times in a number of different places in honor of the fact that we are a global group. We are a global group. Yay! Happy hump day. So, hello, welcome. I'm Valerie Shepherd, founder and CEO of the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. My mission on the planet is to expand the amount of territory that's occupied by bliss. And that means that the bliss in people, that people have to be living in bliss for that to actually happen. And so to help people create more of that in their own lives so they can be that when they share themselves in all the corners of the world where they're busy being themselves. And some of you may have noticed that I posted about a cleanse that I'm doing, and I thought we would talk about cleansing, not specifically the kind of cleanse I'm doing, but the broader sense of the word. The metaphor of the word cleanse is a perfect metaphor for what we think of when we're talking about the dynamics of living happy to be me, which is what I'm about, what my book's about. That whole dynamic is about creating in you a cleansed palate, so to speak, so that you're creating in your life from a place that is free. So you hear me talk about peace, love, joy, and freedom. And when I'm talking about those things, I'm talking about them in a non-political way. So it's not a geopolitical concept of peace that I'm talking about. It's a deeply personal, inner spiritual conquest of peace. The world becomes peaceful when the people expressing themselves in the world are doing that from their peace center within. Freedom is also not a political concept when I'm talking about it. I do talk about it in other contexts, but in this context, for the Bliss Collective, freedom is about emotional freedom. Emotional freedom. So when you look out in the world today, you may see what looks like a lot of consternation. There's a lot of us and them, a lot of me and mine and you and yours. There are a lot of hard and fast rules. I call them rules of engagement. You have to think this way for me to be connected to you, or to want to get to know you, or to want to share love with you. And I'm not talking about romantic love necessarily, although come on in, romantic love, I'm ready. Um, I'm talking about unconditional love, where the other person needn't change at all, needn't be what I want them to be. They can just be whoever they think they are, and my love is still available to them. I had a dear friend and colleague say something. I was facilitating a workshop, I think it was last week, um, for a group of global leaders on unconscious bias and racial equity and social justice. And that's an area that I don't normally do a lot of facilitation in, but I was invited to lead this group, and so I did. And one of the participants said something as a part of experiencing her own transformation in this workshop, and it stuck with me, and I've said it a million times since then. So Jill, I really love this, that this was an experience that you shared. It was personal, it was beautiful, and I really am loving this concept. And her what she felt was, and made a statement about her love being a big enough container for the dynamics going on. And that's what I'm talking about, the unconditional love, where we are able to be a big enough container for whatever's going on inside us that's not bliss. Like, hello, that happens. This is not about Pollyanna pretending stuff isn't bad. That's not what this is about. So this, my love is a big enough container for everything you bring, even if some of the things you bring don't work for me. So it may be in an act of self-love that I remove myself from being in your presence to unconditionally love you, but I'm still gonna be the container of unconditional love. And so when we talk about cleanse, like, how do we be that container of unconditional love? Well, what I wrote about in my book, what I teach in my courses, what I do with coaching clients is help them to find the things that are not love, that are not sources of peace, that are not aligned with joy, that are happening within them, and cleanse those things out of them. Like, how do we say thank you very much and farewell to aspects of us that aren't serving us anymore? So remember, in the Bliss Collective, we probably don't use the concepts of right and wrong as much as we use the concepts of optimal and suboptimal. So if it's optimal, that may mean that there are some negative aspects and some positive aspects, but they come together, and that's optimal for me in this moment. And we use, instead of right and wrong, we also use, is it serving you or is it not serving you? That's the only question for you, is what you're thinking, how you're talking, who you're being serving you at the highest level. Living a high vibe life is your responsibility to create. Nobody can give it to you. You can't bestow it on anyone. You have to go to the buffet and serve yourself. That's a quote from Diana Ross. So back to this concept of cleansing, like, is it time for you to do some cleansing? So this, definitionally, I love words. So definitionally, cleanse as a verb is to make something thoroughly clean. I think of words like synonyms like purify, decontaminate. So think about that. Am I decontaminating me? And if I did, what would the contaminants be that I'm willing to let go of, to release? As a noun, cleanse is a process or a period of time during which a person attempts to rid the body of substances regarded as toxic or unhealthy. Toxic or unhealthy. I bet many of you have never thought of things going on inside of you as maybe being toxic. And I'm not talking about just the foods we eat and the drinks we consume. The toxins are coming in through the air. They're coming in through technology. They're coming in through our habitual patterns, especially when we're asleep at the wheel. Our habitual patterns of thinking, our habitual patterns of relating to ourselves. When I really started looking at where was toxicity in my life, when I started writing my book, I found a lot of the toxicity was coming from me to me. And you might know this as an inner voice that is some people refer to it as the inner critic. I've heard it referred to as monkey mind. I've heard it referred to as brain crap. So that's a toxin in you, coming from you, talking to you. Yuck. So it's time for a cleanse. So the cleanse I'm doing, shouting out to my sister girlfriend, Dr. Tanya Pergola, an award-winning author, master yoga teacher. And one of the ways that Tanya and I are very connected is that she lived with the Maasai in Tanzania, Africa, for I think over 11 years. And the specialty that she does, her book is called Time is Cows, and the specialty that she does is brings African wisdom and combines it with this ancient Indian wisdom that's embedded in the practice of yoga, the holistic practice of yoga, beyond just the asanas, so the whole practice of yoga. And she teaches from that. And I love this woman. I call her Dada. That's sister. And she invited me to do this with her. So my greatest desire is to go with her when she leads one of her VIP yoga retreats in Tanzania for 14 days. Like, that's my biggest wish, my biggest intention, universe, is when I say my bucket list things, that's one of them. But she brings this wisdom into these week-long cleanses. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do it this time. So we're doing an Ayurvedic cleanse. I don't study or practice Ayurvedism, so I am not an expert, but I'm going to share with you some of the things that Dada shared with us. So Ayus, A-Y-U-S, is Sanskrit for life, and Veda is Sanskrit for science or knowledge. So think about Ayurveda as the science of living well. The science of living well. And many of you may have already practiced and may be practicing this all the time. So please put in the chat some of your suggestions for our Bliss Collective. Health, and according to Ayurvedic practice, is a state of vibrant balance in which all layers of life are in sync. So all layers of life. So think mind, body, spirit, physicality, emotionality, spiritual self, like all layers. And I love that they say layers. That means the layers of this magnificent instrument, of the magnificent instrument that you are in sync, in harmony. So I teach life becomes grand when we live in harmony with universal law. Ayurvedism says all layers of life are in sync. We're similar. We're saying the same thing. Getting into harmony with the way life moves. So in Sanskrit, there's a part of Ayurveda that's called the Agni. The Agni, Agni, is digestive power. So the Agni is what we're getting in sync with. This was fascinating to me. Dada had us do this little quiz, and we learned what kind of dosha we are. And so we're doing the practice of the cleanse, um, following our doshas. And if this is of interest to you all, I'm happy to see if Dada would come and actually teach and maybe even offer a cleanse to all of us, and our collective could do it together. So, strong Agni, this was really beautiful for me. Strong Agni means whatever you take in, like if you've got a strong digestive power, whatever you take in. Now, remember, we're talking about digesting food, but also digesting life. So, with the powerful Agni, when you take things in, they nourish the self and contribute to your circulatory power, which means that even toxins can be moved out of the body. So if you take in a toxin, because your Agni is so strong, it can move it out so that it doesn't linger, it doesn't get stuck in fatty tissue, it doesn't hang around in your organs and your blood and create a kind of drag on your life, on your body, on your physicality, on your mental and emotional and spiritual self. A weak Agni, on the other hand, means that things are not being fully digested. Okay, metaphor. What are you not able to digest that's happening in your life right now? Food, emotions, situations, scenarios, experiences. Weak Agni, you're not able to fully digest, so more of the toxins get left in you as residue. So there's the residue in the digestive tract, but emotionally, if you see that you are getting emotionally triggered very easily, things just set you off into a land of upset, and it's not all the same upset. One minute I can be crying, and the next minute I'm, what the? If you have difficulty manifesting the things that you want, that your desires are in you to be made manifest. Yet if your desire is there and the manifestation is not, it may be signaling it's time for a cleanse. It's time for a cleanse. There's some weak digestive force, physiologically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, that is leaving toxins in your system, your vibrational system, that is sending a signal to the universe that is not of what you want. Not of what you want. So now, continuing with this cleanse that I'm doing, the food that we eat in the cleanse is really easy to digest. It's called, one of the main staple is called khichari, or I might be pronouncing it wrong, it might be khichari, which is rice and beans, dal. And we make that, and we have that maybe with some sauteed vegetables, the vegetables that are easy to digest. We also have a moringa soup with a little bit of vegetables in it. But it's reshaping, right? It's reshaping the inner realm, the physicality of the mind-body-spirit connection. And more may need to be done. So, for example, we were having a talk yesterday, the group, it's a group of us who are doing this cleanse together under Dada's mentorship. And we were talking about the things that were difficult. So one of the participants was saying she was constantly hungry, and I was considering, well, this isn't a diet, so aren't I allowed to eat if I'm hungry? Well, so for me, emotionally, the restriction, like the discipline of not being able to do something, is a trigger for me. It brings up emotional yesterday it brought up a lot of emotion of um, kind of being left out, of not being a good girl, of not being um, favored to be able to have what I want. And I think there's a lot of that going on in the world today where people are, really vehemently upset about masks and how they can't go certain places unless they do certain things. And it's funny how when we tell someone you can't do it, all of a sudden, even though it may have been something they didn't do that often, right? Even though it may have been something they never did, as soon as you tell them they can't, now it's a problem. And that's a natural psychological reaction to the idea of being restricted, the idea of being told you don't belong. Like if you're not vaccinated, you can't come, you don't belong. And so there's a natural psychological reaction to that as human beings. As spiritual beings, there's a oneness, there's divine rightness, there's divine fit, there's divine magnificence and beauty in every single thing, even the things that we rail against, or the things that we don't understand, or the things that we don't want. So, emotional healing can be triggered by physiological cleansing. And that's great because your physiological cleanse can be a vehicle that shows you mentally and emotionally there's a little work to do. There's some dancing to do with some other places where there's some muck and yuck clouding up your ability to manifest what you want, express yourself at the highest vibrational levels. If this is making sense, whether you're here with me live, and I see you there, thank you so much for being here. Whether you're here live, I would love for you to type into the comment section like a yes or an amen or a hallelujah or a question that I can take or something that lets me know this is making sense and working for you. So sometimes you've heard about emotional eating. So sometimes people are eating to satisfy something that is not hunger from the physical body, that it's actually an emotional or mental hunger. And so we need to stop for a moment as we're putting food in our mouths, become mindful, become present, listen to the stomach telling us it's full, and ask, so if I'm putting another spoon in my mouth when I can feel that I'm full, what am I really hungry for? Find out what that is and deal with it. And you might notice that your need for so much food may go down. I'm doing a lot of work in this racial equity and social justice area. And one of the things that was brought to my attention the other day was that there may be a link among the overweight African American population, Black, dark-skinned population in the U.S., coming from this thing called post-traumatic slave syndrome. So epigenetically, things are passed down generation to generation. There are studies that show it in humans and rats and other kinds of things in humans. There are even PTSD studies with military and show that PTSD is passed down to generations from the military. It's fascinating work. So we're walking around carrying toxicity that isn't even from us. And so emotional cleansing is a part of how you create the space in you to live the high vibe life that creates the bliss that we in the collective are committed to experiencing and expressing. So sometimes people are eating because of a trigger from an emotional wound that may have come from generations prior. And so coming present to that, oh, this is my slave heritage. There it is. My slave heritage, where food was scarce and ancestors weren't sure they could eat. And there's a part of me that seems to be expressing that when I eat without hunger and with mindlessness because it's there. Now, that's a part of the self awareness, like to see yourself in action without judgment, in total compassion and love, to just feel it. When you tune in, I promise you, I guarantee you, when you get practiced at tuning in, you will hear, you will feel. You won't need anyone to tell you. You will be your own best guidance. So I just want to finish up today with, that's one really important question. For what am I really hungry? If sweets are your vice in parentheses, I mean, quotation marks, parentheses, quotation marks. What is the sweetness that you really want? Is it really the cookie or the cake or the ice cream? I love ice cream. Is it really that, or is it some other sweetness in your life where you feel held, when you feel cherished, where you feel that you belong, that people see you, that someone cares about you, someone's interested in what's happening to you right here and right now? Is that the sweetness, or is it really the cake? There is no right, there is no wrong, and in moments it's going to be the cake, and in other moments it's going to be, I really would like to be held. I would like to unburden myself and have someone deeply listen without judgment or need to fix anything. So when you're doing a cleanse, so there are lots of cleanses out there. Like I said, if enough of you want me to bring Dada in and do this Ayurvedic cleanse, it's really simple. We can arrange that, and I'm sure she would love to. But for doing emotional cleansing, a couple of things that can support you. So tuning in always starts there. So the first step in my 4-step process in my book is wake up to the truth of who you are. By the way, sidebar, if you want the book, you can get it on Amazon. You can buy it on my website at happytobeme.net for 25% off Amazon, or you can download it from the website for free. So if you don't want to buy it, you can get it for free. So when I'm referring to my book, I'm not doing that from a place of please buy my book. I'm saying there are lots of ways you can get this wisdom. So step 1 in the 4-step process is wake up to the truth of who you are. And so this wake up step can be happening all the time. Wake up. What's going on right this moment? Come into the present moment as you in your life. To go further on an ongoing emotional cleanse, ditch the digital stimuli. There's another Hump Day Happy Chat about that. But ditching the digital stimuli, preferably for a whole day, but even for 15 minutes. Like, leave your phone in the car when you go into a store or go for a walk. Truly, your Instagram, your Facebook page, your anything that needs a photo of you can go without one for one day or one period of time. If you become addicted to being connected, you are actually adding toxicity into your body. Toxicity into your body. There's also a Hump Day Happy Chat about FOMO that is very much about digital stimuli. Notice what's going inside you. I encourage and invite you to sit in silence for a little bit every day. And a great place to do this, where we combine this cleansing of the body with the physical body and the food with the emotional body, is to sit in silence while you're eating. Pick one of your meals and do it in silence. Away from your phone, away from your computer. Don't be working while you're eating. Don't be watching TV. Don't be listening. Just sit or stand and eat. Beautiful way to hear yourself beyond the mental blah, blah, blah. You may get like me, where I went on a multi-day silent meditation retreat, and it was wicked. Oh my gosh, it was wicked. Wicked meaning fun. Speak in New England now. So you're noticing what's going on inside you. But that means you have to quiet down inside and outside so you can notice it at the highest levels. Ask what self care would be best for you in the moment. Perhaps a 5-minute stretch break, a walk in the park. Ayurveda suggests tongue scraping so that you can remove the metabolic debris that gets lodged in the tongue. Ayurveda also suggests hot and cold showers. So take a shower, start with hot water, shift to cold water for 1 minute, go back to hot water. What does that do? It invigorates the body, and it also helps the circulatory system reset itself. You can up your water intake, maybe add a quarter more water or a half more water or double your water intake. And if you drink alkaline water or alkaline broth, you're getting improved enzyme and cellular metabolism and general cleansing of toxins. Lighten up your foods. So maybe get off of heavier foods and go to a vegetable-based meals for a couple of days. So we're eating this thing called khichdi. I love it. I don't usually eat rice because I'm a keto eater, but I'm loving this. Try a charcoal balm in your bath. I actually take a charcoal tea that I make with charcoal and triphala. But you can also put it in your bath. It'll leach toxins out of your skin. With the emotions that come up, and I guarantee you they are going to come up. As we cleanse one system, remember it's layers of system. As we cleanse one layer, something shows itself in a different layer. And the emotions are a very powerful guidance system. They're speaking to us. So the most important thing when we're talking about emotional upset is to allow the upset to breathe. Make peace with it, like walk closer to it. Instead of going away, I don't want that upset. Take a breath. Your divinity will meet you in that breath. Your divinity will meet you in the deep breath. And then lean closer to the upset and ask it what it came to show you, what it came to teach you, how it came to love on you in the form of an upset. The idea of a bliss-filled life doesn't mean there is no upset. It means that your connection to your bliss is so deep that you can welcome the upset and feel the bliss anyway. That's where we're going. That's what we're doing together. That's what we're committed to. That's what I experience in my life, and I'm committed to helping you experience in yours. So make peace, make friends with the upsets, and allow them to tell you where your upside potential is in shifts. They might be little minor shifts. They might be massive. Where else is a cleanse being called for in your life? Acknowledge it. Receive the upset. Okay, I receive it. Let the tears flow. Let your body relax. Like there are toxins in your body from being in a constant fight or flight state of fear, of guilt, of shame, of resentment, of anger. So when you allow that upset to move, you allow those muscles to relax and those toxins to be released. Get into your bliss-filled living by giving yourself a mind, body, spirit, emotional cleanse, physical cleanse, to leave space, more spaciousness for bliss to be experienced. Yay! That's the Hump Day Chappy Chat for today. It's time for a cleanse. Thank you for being here, either live or listening to the replay. Remember, I'm happy to answer questions, and I would love for you to engage with this post and tell me what more you might want on this topic or others. And I always close Hump Day Happy Chats with the Karanaya Metta Sutra, the prayer of loving kindness from the Buddha. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature, the divinity of you, and get into that layered mind, body, spirit harmony. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature, and may all beings be free. Yay. Many blessings. Thank you very much. I hope you'll join me on Sunday for our little get together. Watch in the group for a post about the time and the link, and I'll see you then. Many blessings. Have a great day. Happy Wednesday. Bye now.